What's synesthesia, man?
I knew you were going to ask me this, and I should have been better prepared. So synesthesia
I
is
don't know.
basically, I think, like you end up. There are also lots of versions of it, and I wish there was someone who knew about it better because I read up about it after watching the play. But I think, like you end up seeing you're highly sort of sensitive to your surroundings.
Hmm.
So like you end up seeing like color coming out of a person's mouth. Like you see a person, you can actually see a color,
Yeah.
and that's yeah. They're highly sort of like artistic, sensual beings, and they like you'd never be able to tell, right? Just by looking at them.
Yeah.
Like
And
I once met a guy who could actually see color coming out of a person's mouth, and this one time he was like in like when he was in college, he saw another guy, one of his friends in the cafeteria, and for some reason his like the color coming out of his mouth was like green, if I'm not mistaken, and he ended up committing suicide a couple of days later.
how are those two related, though?
Because like he usually sees like yellow or red or something coming out of people's
Hmm.
mouth, but this time like he
He
had
saw he
never
saw a
seen
different
green.
color. He said.
Yeah, like even he was surprised how come it's
Now,
green.
when he told you the story, was his friend already dead? It's a weird question,
Yeah, of course he was. Nah?
right? So, well, even I could make that claim, right? Even I could make that claim that I see color coming out of your face.
Yeah, but I know you're full of bullshit, and this guy I believe.
So it's basically you're just believing him based on faith. Then.
You're like a flat earther who's like coked out on melatonin. How do we take you seriously?
Dude, you don't snort that shit, man. What are you talking about?
Oh, God knows what you do, man. We don't want to know what you do in your private time.
No, all I'm saying is,
Bloody melatonin party
no,
you're
all I'm
gonna have right
saying, see, all I'm
after
saying
this.
is this guy, whoever has synesthesia or whatever, he claims to see like color coming out of people's mouths. How
So
do you
he
know
claimed,
if?
he told me, he usually doesn't tell people, but because I am quite a friendly guy and like people talk to me, he told
But,
me.
but how do you know if he doesn't say that to everyone, dude?
Because he was a friend of a friend, and that friend told me, oh, this
So
is a
he
friend or
told,
whatever.
so yeah, that friend of a friend knew about his synesthesia.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're not that exclusive. Like my point is, like he's told a whole bunch of other people, right?
And that friend actually went out with him. So she like properly, like, unless like for years he was like coming up with this whole like
I don't know.
scene about who just to garner sympathy, which I doubt he would do.
See, I know some people who have that, but they're not making fun of this. They're actually schizophrenic. So there's this lady that in my bachelor's degree, when I was doing my bachelor's degree, she called my professor. She knew someone who was schizophrenic and who would have these really heavy schizophrenic episodes, and she would have visions in those schizophrenic episodes, and she would completely be completely catatonic, completely like laying out and stuff like that. And then she would go ahead and paint and make tattoos and like do make art out of her visions. And when you saw them, they were mind blowing. They were really beautiful.
Mind blowing. So I once saw an exhibition of like art sculptures and like paintings and all somewhere again in the UK, all made by like people suffering from mental disorders, and they were the most gorgeous things that you've ever seen. And it's not like you need to know art or something. Just the minute you see it, you're like, oh my god, there's so much going on here.
Yeah, that's hard to define, man, because it's hard to. I guess you're so encoded in your everyday